Ladies, gamers, and gentlemen, welcome to Bell Noir TV. You are watching Cast My Game Community Cast. We are starting right now. My name is Bell Noir, and I am here with Wolf. Hello, Wolf.
Hello. It's nice to join you again.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy that you hit me up. You know, Wolf is such a nice person. She saw one of my tweets that I'm doing another Cast My Game today, and she tweeted at me asking, "Hey, you need any backup today?" I'm like, "Sure. You can be my date. I don't mind."
I still have a bit of a cold, so yeah,
It's
my
gonna be
voice breaks up sometimes.
it's gonna be completely fine. Trust me. Like
Oh
I
wait.
I basically cast the whole DSCL finals with a wrecked voice, and I cast for the whole day in front of a live audience that, might I add, was very loud. So I couldn't even hear myself talking. And so, if I can do it, anybody can do it because I'm the worst caster in the universe. Anyways,
Don't worry about that.
we have 3 replays for you guys today, just as always, and we have 2 PVTs for you and 1 PVZ. And out of those 3 games, we have 1 game that came to us all the way from Korean Grandmaster level servers. Yay! And you are going to recognize at least one of those games in that game. But before we get there, we're gonna start things off with a practice game, probably from the CPLAY clan from Germany. It's going to be JackO going up against Khyira on the Neo Planet S. Let's get to it.
So what are the matchups for today? Do you want to spoiler it already?
I already said so.
You
Two
already said the
PVTs,
matchup.
yeah.
That's completely right. I'm sorry. Because I was so curious about this whole Grandmaster replay that I totally forgot about that. Okay.
Alright, jumping into the game, I'm just going to check if we did. Yes, we did. Alright, so I believe that you, Wolf, are acquainted with JackO, so why don't you go ahead and introduce this guy?
Yeah, in the bottom left corner we have the green Protoss JackO, and I obviously cheer for him because he's Protoss. So, yeah, nothing more to say to that. He's a pretty cool guy, and he plays really good.
Yeah,
So what about his opponent?
that is absolutely true. His opponent is going to be the yellow Terran player, Khyira. And as I said, this is, both guys being from the same team, this is probably going to be a practice match between these 2 guys. Now, JackO, he's got a really solid PVT, I have to say. Most of the games that I've seen from him, whenever he gets a chance to deal a killing blow to his opponent with, for example, 2 Colossi, 8 gateway push off of 2 bases, he does so. And also, he's playing really safely. I saw a couple of his games on Star Station, for example, which is a map that is suited to faster expansions. He didn't cancel his Zealot. He let his Zealot finish, and he always uses that Zealot with the first Stalker to put a little bit of pressure onto a Terran who is opening up with a gas. Now, in this match so far, we see that he's opening up pretty standardly with a gateway and a gas, and his Terran opponent is doing the same thing, hiding the barracks a little bit.
So do you know about his opponent, if he was going for all-ins or something? Like, we knew about some people already always loving to use Dark Templars and stuff. So anything
Mm,
specific about him?
you mean Khyira?
Yes.
He's a guy that likes to go macro. He's not afraid to do it either, and he's got a really solid early and mid game. He knows how to identify what is coming his way really well. Um, I only have one gripe maybe with this guy, that sometimes he tends to over-prepare his defenses for a potential all-in, but you can't blame him. I mean, on maps such as Star Station, such as Neo Planet S, with these cliffs around the main entrances, they are very well suited to blink all-ins. So sometimes
Well,
he builds a bunch of bunkers, goes to tanks immediately when he doesn't see a third pylon, builds a turret, like prepares for every
yeah.
possible thing.
Well, since they know each other, he probably knows that JackO likes to play pretty safe, so he probably doesn't expect an all-in from him. So who knows if this is a practice match? Like, everybody's good for surprises. And then we see this first zealot that you talked of. Like, I never let this one finish. So
Yeah,
he's
me neither.
actually going to scout with that.
I always cancel that one. The Reaper is scouting JackO's base, trying to take shots at the probes, and he sees a sentry. That is a very important piece of information there for Khyira. He didn't get a... Oh, actually, he did get one probe kill there, I think. Yep. And a good force field with the sentry. Is going to not get the Reaper, actually. But in the meantime...
That's pretty funny.
It is, but in the meantime, the Zealot kills the SCV building the bunker. The bunker is actually 99.9 periodic % complete, but doesn't complete. And JackO might actually get the SCV building the command center, which will delay the expansion, but at the end doesn't manage to do so.
He walks up into the main base, though. That's really nice for some scouting. He sees the factory, and somehow this Reaper got killed off by 2 sentries in JackO's base, by the way.
Yeah.
This is pretty interesting. So what do you expect from seeing two sentries in the beginning?
Well, that pretty much means that JackO is going to be playing really defensively. It also means he doesn't want to be replacing those sentries early on in the game. These are probably the only 2 sentries he's going to be getting for quite a while, and he's going to be dumping the rest of his gas into things like upgrades, things like Robo Facility, which we see coming up right now, because he has seen the factory, he saw the reactor on the barracks, and he probably is a little bit afraid of Widow Mine drops or Hellions or stuff like that. So definitely getting that Robo Facility is very good for him. Here's that one Reaper.
Oh, it did not get killed off.
No, it didn't. And it did get another round of scouting, not all the way to the main base though, so it didn't see the Robo Facility. And we have one forge about to finish up, probably going to be an armor upgrade.
Holy, that's the best against turn. Is it not?
Actually,
It is not. That's
it's actually
interesting.
an attack upgrade straight into Twilight Council. That is a really interesting opening here from JackO. I wonder where he's going with this.
It looks like he's not planning on going Colossi. Really, in the beginning, he's trying. In my opinion, he's trying to start with Templars then.
Ooh.
Pretty much getting that up.
Look what Khyira is doing. Look what he's building. He's getting a second factory.
And he's going for tanks.
Well, he's got one tank out so far now. If he gets a reactor on the second factory, we might be seeing Blue Flame Hellbats even, or
that would be pretty cool.
yeah, that would. He's gonna have 3 tanks with this. This will keep him safe from pretty much a variety of things. Not the least of them being a Blank Stalker attack, and a second forge, another gateway, and charge going down. JackO is just sprinting towards those 2-2 upgrades with a lot of zealots.
What are these 3 SCVs doing in the middle of the map?
I don't know. Must have been a miss rally, probably, because Khyira is moving 2 of those back, and just realizing that, well,
I thought we were going to see something really special.
Oh yeah, I think so. Look at this. A move out with 3 tanks, a whole bunch of marines, no stim on the field, no upgrades, nothing. Combat shields, though, are approximately 1 minute away from being finished. This should line up with the charge, so in fact JackO might have charged sooner than the combat shield finish, and those sentries are going to be invaluable in providing those protection for the zealots. He needs guardian shields to defeat something like this. The tanks are sieging up, the bunker is starting to being built as well. Photon overcharge triggered a little bit prematurely. More reinforcements coming in from Khyira. This is a really hard
contain. And the bunker is built in front of JackO's base.
Yeah.
Mothership Core tries to scout a bit what's going on there.
And JackO, upon seeing this, immediately adding 2 additional gateways, starting his immortal production, which probably he wanted to avoid. And we still don't see any Temple Archives, no Dark Shrines, so we won't have Archons in this engagement. Stim is now started, which means pretty much that JackO is on the clock. When that Stim finishes, if he can't break this contain before then, he's gonna have a lot of problems breaking it later. The mothership core. Ugh.
Gets one hit on the tank. Well, that's the beginning, I guess.
So finally we have the Templar Archives going up, as well as a War Prism. Now, what is JackO going to do? Remember, Neoplanet has, look at this really narrow entrance here. Tanks will just wreak havoc on any number of Zealots or gateway units that try to get through. And with this number of bunkers, they're going to be really well protected. I mean, this is a smart move by Khyira. Behind this, he's getting a third base. It is almost finished. I have to wonder, what do you think? Is JackO going to use this War Prism to drop Immortals on the tanks, or just go for a counter drop?
Ooh, I think Immortals on the tanks would be pretty effective. A counter drop, I'm not quite sure about that, because it would take so much time, and I in his position would be afraid of like Khyira moving actually further into or closer to my base then. But he's splitting up quite a lot out there, like all the missile turrets and bunkers. That's amazing.
Now
Oh God,
I
poor
know. Now
JackO.
I see what JackO's plan is, though. He wants to go for a flank with the Zealots. He knows that he cannot defeat this army entirely just by busting towards it head-on, so he wants to go from two sides at once. It looks like he is ready. The War Prism coming in as well.
There's still not many Immortals, and he's actually moving in now. Destroy the first bunker.
No Guardian Shield on the Zealots, though, and half of them have already fallen. There goes another warp. A couple of the tanks will go down, but I just don't know if JackO can entirely bust this.
Well, he should be able, with all the gates he added, to rebuild his forces pretty soon. And actually a lot's going down. It was quite successful in my eyes.
Yeah, it was, but look at those units. They are so damaged. Just a couple of hits away from dying. And the last Zealot does fall. JackO needs another warp in pronto, as there are more reinforcements streaming in across the map. He warps in a couple of Zealots and 4 High Templars, which he promptly morphs into Archons. Storm is on the way, and this will be JackO's saving grace.
Yeah. Also, like, he's upgrading level 3 for weapons right now, so he's actually still going on attack. And still not going for armor upgrades. I think this is pretty interesting. I never do that.
Well, JackO is on 2-2. He's just about to have his +3 finished.
Yeah.
And look at it this way: the Terran player has 0 upgrades, both on his infantry and on his mech.
Yeah, and with the Immortals, the Immortals that just are about to pop out. There's the second one. It should be pretty strong, but there are a few Marines that scout again for the War Prism now. I hope JackO's doing that again. It was quite successful.
Yeah, but it looks like he just wants to bust and brute force his way through this. A huge hammer sharp spear trying to pierce this contain. It looks like JackO will be successful. The upgrade's doing quite a lot for him right now.
Definitely. This is really good. He cleared up all the tanks. One bunker still up, but that's basically it.
Yeah, and there is not enough reinforcements to deal with this. Those units suddenly, with all those upgrades, they have such a high longevity in combat, and I think JackO right now realizes that he can actually go and get away with this and even do a counterattack onto the third whilst taking his own. Look at the number of minerals he's got. I mean, he can make a 1 round of warping of Zealots and still take his third base because he will have those 400 minerals.
I want to point something out though. Like Khyira had his third way earlier than JackO's going to have his. So he's like Khyira is still having tons of minerals. So I just wonder, he could probably have not lost this fight by just spending and macroing a bit better. Do you think so?
I actually don't. Because I mean, even if he macroed a little bit more, the upgrades were just clearly not in his favor. And with the storm finished, I mean, we have another fight, and this is really smart by Khyira, putting up all those structures in the way of those Zealots. But there was a gap. The Zealots did get in. The tanks are shelling the Protoss army from behind, though, and without the Zealot meat shield, JackO, at least for the time being, has to move back. He's building a lot of proxy pylons on the flanking positions, though, from the left. And he
I'm
also
still
has this
missing.
War Prism in play as well.
I'm still missing a third though. He's still not building it.
Yeah, I think he just wants to go for the kill now, and he does from the left as well as from the bottom. Storm is ready. The top flank was killed off by the tanks, though. The infantry helping quite a lot, but a good Storm onto the Marines. Another one misses, though, and the Templars
Still not
die.
enough. Yeah, it's quite a bad position for JackO to attack.
Yeah, I mean, it could have worked, but the timing of that flank was just not very good. Here comes another one, though. JackO realizing that the army of Khyira is out of position to protect those tanks. He just needs to focus fire those tanks down with the Zealots before the infantry returns. He does take all 3 of them down, and with another warpin, he might have a chance.
Yes, he's now warping in a lot of Templars at home. But I wonder if he's still going for mortals. His upgrades are pretty good. Let's see if the Terror is actually following up on this.
I don't know, his +1/+1 just now finished. I think Khyira has just kind of solidified his position here, and these planetary fortresses are going to do quite a lot to make his bases even more impregnated versus an enemy attack than before. JackO realizing that he cannot bust that position, he's taking his 3rd base. A little bit later, I think he thought that at first that if he strikes fast enough, he might be able to make a dent in Khyira's armor and potentially close out the game, but Khyira's defenses were just barely there.
Yeah, like I hope. Oh, see, we see the Terran army moving a bit. I don't know if he's going to attack or drop, maybe.
I think he's going to do both.
Yeah, well, that's. I hope.
But
he's moving back.
Ooh!
Oh wow!
Where did that come from? Oh, here we are.
Wow!
Even a storm.
And the storms were going down. Wow!
that was actually so close. That Templar had like 73 energy probably when those Marines stemmed and started chasing it. And JackO just narrowly before the Templar died, he stormed the infantry.
That was one rebel Templar there. So, JackO's cloud is ready now. Probes being transferred, and all the Templars are saving up energy right now. Few Archons available. He should be pretty safe at the moment.
Yeah, the game has slowed down a bit. If we look at the army supply, Khyira 95 army supply versus 60 of JackO. Now, granted, the Storm does quite a lot as well as the upgrades. Those are the added benefits that could even out the supply versus basically quantity versus quality for JackO. But as the game goes on and +2/+2 upgrades for the infantry for the Terran kick in, it's going to look a little bit differently here. And well, the problem for Khyira though is that his army is very immobile. He's playing this positionally as opposed to trying to pull his opponent every which way, which is what usually the turns do.
Does he need to be mobile though? We see
I don't think he
JackO
does.
attacking right now, but he's pulling back, I think. Some storms going down, some damage on the Terran, but it's just not enough. So JackO pulls back.
And this
we
was
still have to remember though, like Khyira has tons of bases, was ahead by taking his 3rd earlier, and he's so safe. Like, the longer JackO waits, the more he gives time for Khyira to get back on upgrades and actually catch up with the only thing he's behind.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the number of bases has equalized right now, as both players are basically mining off of 3 bases with their mains mined out. Or will be very soon, if this Nexus ever gets a chance to finish. Looks like Khyira will have none of that, though. He scanned, he saw the 4th base going up for JackO, and he says, well, I can't allow you to do that, because then you will have enough resources to just outproduce me in an attack. So he's going for it.
Some storms, that's good, but the tanks are already sieged. So many tanks.
Yeah, but you know, the problem with tanks is that if this Bioforce dies, the tanks are completely unprotected. Those Archons
And
have a lot of
Archons.
hit points and shields on them.
So strong. But still, JackO's army gets cleared off. Wow.
Wow,
I don't
this
really
was...
know what I expected from this fight, to be honest. There was so much Terran Force right here, so I thought JackO would pull back or something, but he had no chance, and for that he actually managed quite well in that fight.
Yeah, but I mean, it was so close. I mean, Khyira had more units, but JackO is up 2 upgrades right now, and he's transitioning into a Stargate as opposed to Mass Immortals or Colossi. The Stargate is a good choice for him because he did see a lot of Marauders, a lot of Hellbats, a lot of tanks, not a whole lot of anti-air. Let's see how many starports do we have on the Terran side of things. Only 1 starport. It does have a reactor though, but we have only 3 medevacs out on the field. Khyira will be looking to replenish that medevac count, and that will of course hinder his Viking production when probably Tempest will be the choice. JackO might produce a couple of Void Rays, but I would like to see, if he's going for air, I would like to see 3 or 4, maybe 5 Tempests with his army composition.
There's a little drop at JackO's 4th base.
Gets defended though, and Khyira is forced to move back, loses 1 medevac in the process, but did kill, well, not a lot of workers actually. Only 10 probes have died this whole game.
JackO at the same time attacked both, like the 3rd and the 4th base of Khyira. And he also scouted the one in the top left.
Yeah, and he's probably going to take that one out. That base is basically going to be mining with only mules. So, you know, if he takes out the CC here, before it morphs into a planetary... Oh, he's going to get the... Oh, he's getting the SCV transfer. A lot of SCVs have gone down. This force will have to kite back from the Zealots. And JackO turning around promptly, going for the planetary fortress. Or maybe not. Deciding that it's not worth the trouble. And Khyira, he really does not want to lose this base. He needs to keep this base alive at all costs. Here we have the Fleet Beacon finishing up, and the choice is going to be carriers for JackO. I don't know if I agree with that all that much. I really don't know. I mean, it's a stylistic choice, I suppose, but Tempest...
Viceroy inspired. You can't say anything against that one.
Oh yeah, I mean...
Carriers.
If you think about it though, carriers are overpowered. It's very hard to get to them, but once you get to them, they are friggin' OP. I mean, 1 attack upgrade gives you plus 16 damage per attack, as long as you have all the interceptors, of course. So we have a couple of Void Rays with this army so far. Khyira is massing for another strike, taking all the remaining bases, bar the central ones that have gold minerals. JackO is going to start running out of resources. Pretty much, so he has to defend right now, and Khyira is in a much better position economically.
Yeah, and even he's so present on the map, like with his tanks always sieged up everywhere, and he's always pushing JackO. And taking the bottom right base right now, so I don't even know is it his 6th base? Yeah.
He's taking all the bases, girl. He's like, all your base belong to us.
No. Poor JackO. Where's his army? There it is. Like, do you think he can win this fight? These tanks are so wide stretched out behind. I see our
I think he actually can, because there's nothing to kill the Void Rays. There are no Marines around here, no Vikings. The Storms are going onto the tanks, preventing the infantry from going forward. Now they decide that they actually need to. And look at this, JackO's got nothing on the ground, but there is no anti-air, and that means that the carriers are going to prevail and kill off the remainder of the forces. Let's look at the cost effectiveness here. We can see that it is very, very even, 29,000 versus 29,000 resources lost, but right now the army supply is going to be the problem, and the productivity. Carriers take a very long time to make, and Khyira's units are going to be producing faster. Meanwhile, JackO taking the time to take out the space in the top with a couple of Zealots. He's probably going to get it as well.
Yeah, yep. He also needs to get another base by now because he doesn't want Khyira's economy to grow even stronger.
Yeah, the income basically is showing right now that JackO is hugely ahead, and that is mostly due to the fact that first one thing, we have this huge SCV transfer to the bottom base, so that causes a gap in income a little bit. They're mining approximately the same amount of minerals. Khyira mining more gas, but I don't think he's got much use for gas at this point.
No, we see 3k laying around, so that doesn't mean anything. And another base gets destroyed by JackO, and also many SCVs.
Wow, JackO is gaining momentum. We have double starports with reactors both producing 4 Vikings at a time. It will not be long before Khyira has a direct counter to the carriers, but he will need a lot of Vikings to defeat a carrier army. Let's see if JackO will be actually producing more carriers. He doesn't have the gas necessarily right now to do so. And he's going to be warping in a lot of charge lots, I take it. The problem is, what will defend those carriers? I mean, there is no other anti-air apart from 2 Archons and 4 Stalkers that will probably not get close enough to the Vikings. But another very, very bad exchange there for Khyira, losing units pretty much for no gain. And JackO is on the move.
He still has like most of the map. Yes, this is like so mean. He's taking all the bases again and again, and JackO is trying to deny it by warping in zealots and just fighting all these bases. But his map presence is not very strong.
I think both players right now know where their opponents are. JackO probably gonna take out all of these bunkers, CCs and whatnot. He's trying to take a gold base in the center. He needs a fresh inject of mineral income right now, and the game has slowed down just a little bit right now. We have 6 carriers attacking the front of this base of Khyira. Khyira probably not going to even respond to this. I mean, there is really no need to, because there is nothing here apart from 2 orbitals. Which, frankly, he's not going to be missing that much. He might counterattack at this point, but no, he's moving all of his army from the bottom to the top. That's going to take a while. And both of these CCs will fall before that army gets there, I think. And JackO, right now, he can just retreat. He doesn't have to fight that army. And look at Khyira, he's so indecisive, going to the top, going to the bottom, going to the top, to the bottom again. Not really deciding on whether or not he should engage.
He just scouted the gold base for JackO though, so I hope he's doing something about that one.
He's trying to.
He's scanning and sees a tiny bit of army standing there, but he kills the cannons off before they finish, or at least denies some energy.
JackO defense even avoids the EMPs from the ghosts. That is a crucial thing here, because, you know, ghosts are just so instrumental in defeating this kind of composition. Carriers have a lot of health, Archons have a lot of health. Both of these unit types have a high amount of shield points. So if you can take something away from that with a couple of well-aimed EMPs, you're going to have a much easier fight on your hands. And you definitely want and need to bring those carriers down as fast as possible with those Vikings, as few as Khyira has of them.
I think we're going to see an engagement every... Oh no, the ghost got feedback.
Oh, they got fed back alright, and the Vikings got stormed to death. There's still a lot of Marines, but with the Archons and the charge lots, those Marines will not stay alive for very much longer, and all the rest is going to be wiped out by the Interceptors.
Wow.
Let's see if JackO can actually do this. There's still a lot of Marines remaining, but they are shooting at the Interceptors instead of shooting at the carriers. And there's just not enough anti-air here at this point for Khyira. He's in a lot of trouble currently.
JackO actually going for Tempest now.
That's a good call. And I actually think he should have started building Tempest before going over to carriers, because, you know, at that point where JackO transitions to Stargate, Khyira had a lot of very immobile units, namely tanks, and with Tempest you can force those tanks to move without engaging, just because of the range.
That's true, but still, like, the amount of carriers he has. I mean, at some point, like, it's not about quality, but he just has so many carriers that they still can destroy everything. The stream is obviously down.
Really?
Yes,
No, it's not.
it is. It is down.
For me, it says it's still streaming.
For me, it says offline and people are messaging me.
Really? That's really strange. Let me check. You know what? I'll pause the game right here.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently it is offline. What the...